We disembarked the ship upon arrival at Colombo port in Sri Lanka to board our motorcoats and to proceed to the airport for our flight to Delhi, India. It looked like a busy day, but there was an orderly way of directing everyone to the designated coaches for our port excursions.
Sri Lanka is a tropical country. We don't have any four seasons, only the rainy season and the dry season. No snow. No snow, no snow, never ever.
I was with a group of 30 passengers who signed up for the exclusive Overland tour to visit the World Heritage Site, the Taj Mahal of India. And we will be reboarding the ship back at the next port in 3 days' time. Colombo is a commercial capital city and is the gateway to Sri Lanka coming from the modern harbor. On this day, we simply passed through and just got a mere overview of this interesting city on our way to the Bandaranaike airport.
And on your right hand side, in the further you can see like yellowish color building that is called Goldface Hotel. That is the first purposely built hotel in Sri Lanka, 1864. This area is called Slave Island, Colombo.
And we then continued to see a bit more of the town's business section. Soon, as we got closer to the airport, our group escort prepped us with instructions for when we arrived at the airport terminal.
Ladies and gentlemen, so we are approaching the airport now. I would suggest that we check in all together as a group, okay? And I will check in the last one because I want to make sure that everybody is successful with their check-in. I would suggest maybe first to do a restroom stop inside the airport, yeah? Thumbs up? I think so. So okay, let's do the restroom stop first inside the airport. I haven't been there myself, so we will investigate all together, yeah, our way to go. And then we go all together to the check-in counter, and I will check in the last one to make sure that everybody is fine.
To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal plate on one strap into the buckle on the other strap and tight. Ensure the seatbelt is around your hips. To open your seatbelt, lift the upper portion up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at Indira Gandhi International Airport. The local time is 20 minutes past 5 p.m. and the temperature is 35 degrees Celsius.
We were on time for our arrival in Delhi, India. Went through the customs and didn't wait too long for our motorcoach ride. With a little surprise, each of us got laid as we boarded.
You bring the happiness, you know. So anybody would like to guess that how many different states we are in India? Okay, I'll tell you. You will not believe. India was divided at the time of Indian independence in 1947 into 562 different principalities.
So we met our local tour guide, who promptly provided us with historical and cultural information about India on our way to the hotel. Along the way, we encountered late afternoon heavy highway traffic before we drove past New Delhi's prominent locations and major attractions, beginning with a brief stop for a view of a Hindu temple.
Hindu temple, Lakshmi Narayan temple.
On the left side?
On the left side is coming. Now it's coming on the left side.
This temple was built in the 1930s before India gained its independence from Britain.
The German, they changed it because they also believe in the Hindu philosophy of Tantrism.
And then we passed by several government buildings illuminated with colorful lights, but really tough to take good pictures of as we
This
move
is
along.
called house of our president, right? Sundari Ramsdale. Look at that. That's our Capitol Hill. But Capitol Hill is in India is the house of president. Sticker. Look at the building, guys, on the left side. The circular building.
Also on our route were diplomatic enclave and foreign embassy compounds, and a glimpse of nightlife, shops, and businesses along the streets of Delhi, before finally arriving at our hotel after a long day of travel.
Well, guys, I repeat again, 6 o'clock tomorrow is a wake-up call. Anytime, you can come down after 6. You can come down for a cup of tea. And we are meeting there because cup of tea and cookies. And then 6:30 we can depart for our journey on the way to the station.
Leaving a Delhi hotel in the morning with a boxed breakfast and a quick photo ops, we boarded our coach and we were more than ready to depart for the day's adventure. Our first stop would be the railway station to board a train for Agra for a guided tour of the Taj Mahal.
In 1648 by the same man who built the Taj Mahal. So today, which is anything in the wall area is called Old Delhi. Anything outside of the wall, everything is called New Delhi. In my country, for example, when you say middle class, we don't say middle class. We say middle class, upper middle class, and lower middle class.
On our way to the train station, while learning more about Indian history and culture, we came across some interesting sights, including a 500-year-old tomb at Lodi Gardens, a popular city park in New Delhi.
So they were all, this is called Lodi Garden. Lodi is the name of a dynasty who were ruling before.
And one other historically significant tomb under renovation.
You know how old this tomb is? This tomb was built in 1586. This tomb was all destroyed. Now we are restoring it with the help of, you know, you heard about Aga Khan Trust from Paris? Yeah. Indian government, which is called Archaeological Survey of India, and some money come from the UNESCO.
We got off the coach a block away from the train station because of the traffic.
Okay, everybody here. Come on.
And we walked in a group to the station. It was a very busy morning with lots of people boarding or getting off their train cars. But our guide took care of everything and he got us on board, seated together in our designated train car. Drinks and meals were served while we saw a bit of the countryside of this part of India. After 2.5 hours, we arrived in the city of Agra.
Agra is a very primitive kind of place because you arrive in Delhi. It was a modern Delhi, and Agra, as you can see, that is primitive. But I believe personally, being primitive, it makes Taj Mahal more exciting. So how are you going to work out? Let me tell you. We're going to go inside. We're going to have a nice group picture. I'm going to talk the story, history, and then tell you the best places you can take picture. Then I give you some free time. You can go yourself. Because I know you want to pose here and there, you want to take nice picture of your beautiful wives and husbands and all the pictures, different angles. You're going to do that, yes.
Well, we have time outside to take pictures.
Yes, we do have time.
The Taj Mahal adventure began when we got off the coach. Without wasting time, our guide contracted several auto rickshaw transports to take us all to the main entrance. It was a 10-minute fun ride, taking memorable pictures along the way, and also racing with the others to get there first. But in the end, we all waited to walk together again as a group. After going through the security, history talk and final instructions from our guide, In a group photo, we were free to go on our own to walk the path to explore the grounds and the museum of the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983 for being the jewel of Muslim art in India and one of the universally admired masterpieces of the world's heritage. It is also one of the world's most celebrated structures and symbol of India's rich history with its outstanding architecture, combined with Indian, Persian, and Islamic influences. This ivory white marble mausoleum was constructed on the southern bank of Yamuna River in Agra and was commissioned in 1632 by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan to house the remains of his favorite wife. When the emperor died, he was buried next to her. This entire complex was constructed over a period of 20 years. Framed by 4 minarets at each corner, the most spectacular feature is the marble dome surrounded by 4 smaller domes that surmount the mausoleum. At the far end of the complex are 2 grand red sandstone buildings that mirror each other and face the sides of the mausoleum. The western side building is a mosque. The exterior decorations of the Taj Mahal are among the finest in Mughal architecture. Besides calligraphy, there were many stone carvings and abstract designs covering every inch of the exterior and carved detailed flower motifs into the walls. And the complex is set around a large square garden that begins at the end of the main gateway and ends close to the square base of the mausoleum. Halfway in between, a pool reflects the mausoleum, which makes some incredible photography. Taj Mahal is quite an amazing sight to visit, but unfortunately, we were not allowed to take pictures inside the mausoleum. After gathering back to our meeting point, we made our exit to move on to our next stop. The area outside Taj Mahal was bursting with persistent vendors selling numerous souvenir items and many other accessories. And from there, we took a ride back on small transports like the ones we were on earlier, followed by a short walk to the nearby and another interesting site, the Fort of Agra. About a mile and a half from the Taj Mahal, the Agra Fort is a large 16th century fortress of red sandstone located on the Yamuna River. We entered through one of the 4 gates with octagonal tower on each side and pillared pavilions around it.
I love this part actually.
Agra Fort is one of the largest forts in India. It was established by the Mughal Emperor Akbar, and in its capacity as both a military base and a royal residence, served as the seat of government when the Mughal capital was in Agra. The fort was commissioned in 1565 and reportedly took 8 years to construct. During the period of the Mughal dynasty, many structures were built inside the fort. The walls are 70 foot high and the structure reflects the architectural grandeur of the Mughal reign in India. The fort complex was also designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983. After a short walk from the gate, we were greeted with the sight of a lovely garden in front of a building with arched portal and towers on both sides, a form of Islamic architecture and the principal palace for women belonging to the royal household. In front of the palace is a huge bowl that is carved out of a single piece of stone and said to have been used as a container for fragrant rose water. We then entered another courtyard and at the end was Taj Mahal, the royal palace of the emperor, a structure erected on elevated platform, paved with marble and surrounded by living apartments with courts and verandas. In front of it is the grape garden and a water tank with fountain in the center. The garden was meant to be a private area of relaxation for the royal ladies. Close to Taj Mahal is an octagonal tower with a view of the Yamuna River and the Taj Mahal. It was built by Shah Jahan for his beloved wife. It is here where he spent his last few years as a prisoner of his son, and where he could sit and daily gaze out of the Taj Mahal where his wife's tomb is housed. The interior is made of delicate marble lattices with ornamental niches. The chamber has a marble dome on top and is surrounded by a veranda with beautiful carved fountain in the center. The decorations of the walls depict flower patterns of inlaid colored marbles. Some areas of the fort are not accessible to public, but the Fort of Agra is of historical significance and is a great place worth to explore and see one of the best preserved forts of the Mughal era.
Alright guys, let's go.
Eventually, we made our way to the exit and past the souvenir vendors to meet and board back on our waiting motorcoach. It felt like a very long day, but our day's adventure at the Taj Mahal and the Fort of Agra ended up with a late lunch, which was pre-arranged at a hotel restaurant that offered so many choices of food and fruits. And our Agra adventure wouldn't be complete without visiting a place for a sales demonstration of how really beautiful Indian carpets are made locally. They even figured out and showed us how they are packed for easy carrying, if one decided to buy one.
This is flying carpet. Filling in tapping, huh? This is filling in tapping.
In another room, there were art marbles and other items for sale that were neatly displayed on shelves. They were all nice to look at, but aside from the prices as labeled, I thought some in the group were more worried about having to carry extra stuffs for our flight back the next day.
Paradox in the sense, India is the third largest exporter of beef in the world.
Back on the road again, it was time to head back to Delhi. As it turned out, we weren't going to board a train, but we did continue our trip on the motorcoach on a clear highway with very light traffic. With a short break in between, we reached our hotel in Delhi after the 3.5-hour journey.
Now we are just getting off from this express highway. Thank you for the visit again, as the signboard says, and that's it.
The morning after having a good rest for the night in Delhi, we headed to the airport for our domestic flight to Cochin.
Oh, well friends, we are almost there. So I would like to say thank you very much for the time, opportunity we have together. I do hope the way I enjoyed your company, the same way you enjoyed my country and the time we had together. I wish you all the best and have fun on the cruise. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star has pleased announced an early arrival and welcomes you to Kochi. The temperature outside is 27 degrees Celsius.
Welcome to Cochin, another entrancing sights to the Cochin. And from here to 1.5 hours. 1.5 hour journey to Cochin. And further you can have we are moving to the older part of Cochin. You have go to see the Chinese fishing nets, St. Francis Church.
Oh, Chinese fishing
Yes, Chinese fishing nets. And the St. Francis Church where the Vasco da Gama burial place, then some fish mark. After that we try to go to the lunch.
Upon arrival in Cochin, our new guide informed us of our day tour activities, which have been pre-planned and coordinated with prior to our re-embarkation on the ship.
And this place is called Kopumbadi. Kopumbadi means toll junction. And before independence, when we go for the older part of Cochin,
We saw the old part of Cochin along the way, and then we were dropped off and escorted by our guide to the St. Francis Church of Fort Kochi. Originally built in 1503, the St. Francis Church is a protected monument. It is one of the oldest European churches in India and has great historical significance as a witness to the European colonial struggle in the subcontinent. The Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama died in Kochi, and his body was originally buried in this church. But after 14 years, his remains were moved to Lisbon. A mass was going on the day we visited, and so it is not open for visitors. But we were able to take turns for a peek at the gravestone of Vasco da Gama from the side view window. And then we were left on our own to explore the area to watch a demonstration of how the Chinese fishing nets are operated. These pre-colonial Chinese fishing nets on the waterfront were believed to have been introduced by Chinese traders in the early 14th century. I observed other visitors join in to pull down the ropes, bring up the fishing nets, and check for fish catch for the day if there was any. I heard they asked for money if you participated and tried it. I also noticed the other groups of passengers from the ship who came down for this interesting show, to shop for souvenirs and locally made crafts, or take a stroll along the shore, look around, and inspect the catch at the fish markets. Our last stop before boarding the ship was at the waterfront resort for lunch. A quite refreshing meal during the last day of our 3-day journey, visiting historical sites in India. And just when we thought we were glad to be back toward the ship again, the group had to wait a while and park outside before being allowed to get through the port's terminal gate due to some immigration documentation issues. But in the end, it all got worked out. Back on board and with everyone accounted for, we sailed away leaving Fort Cochin, bringing with us some great memories of our journey to India.